Do you want me to tell you that when I was 8, I learned to hate myself? Or maybe when I was 12, every day I came home from school, I would sit in the dark because I was convinced I was stupid. Maybe how a few months later, I learned to put a blade to my skin because I did not know how to express what was happening in here. And how one day I pressed too hard and I had to go to the hospital for 8 stitches. Am I supposed to tell you that I'm numb every single day?
How did we get here? How did this happen? Where was I when she was 8, when she was 10? How could I have not known? How could I have not seen? These are the questions that I kept asking myself day after day. And there was no answer. There was no real reason. There was no excuse. There was no explanation. The only explanation that I could come up with is that I dropped the ball. And it's one thing to drop the ball, but when I saw the price that my daughter paid because I dropped the ball, that was heartbreaking. It was one of the most challenging times that I've ever faced in my life. I have never felt emotional pain like I felt during this time. I felt guilt and I even felt ashamed as a parent. I've always believed myself to be a good mom, a good parent. But when this situation came up, all of that fell apart. And I felt like I was the worst mother ever because I was not there for my daughter. I could not have stopped what was happening because I wasn't even seeing it. And that was really, really heartbreaking for me in that time. I realized that as I lived my life, I have lost a lot of things. I lost my dad when I was a teenager. I lost jobs. I've lost friends. We all know we've lost a lot of things in life. Life is not easy all the time. But losing my daughter was the biggest loss I have ever experienced. And the one desire that I had was to get her back. And as I went along this journey, I realized that I needed help. I realized that I needed to make some changes and I needed support. So I started to diligently look for help. And there was a Christian counselor in my community where she started to attend some counseling sessions and she was doing well. She was getting the help that she needed. But I still needed support because when she came home to me. And I needed to know how to support her. I needed to know how to handle her. I needed to know what to say, when to say it, how to say it. And even behaviors, I needed to know how to manage some behaviors. Because you know what? When we're going through stuff and when we are dealing with big emotions, we tend to have big reactions. And behaviors come out at the same time. So there were so many things that I had to deal with, so many things I had to learn. So I knew that I needed support and I needed help. So I started seeking help from me. And really one of the best resources that I found was a program that's called Focus on the Family. That is where I got the resources that gave me insight. I got the support that I needed. I heard people testifying or talking about their situations, which was very similar to what I was going through. And I started to realize that I'm not alone. And the more I tapped into these resources, the more strength I started to gain. And not only did these resources help me, I also leaned into my faith and I trusted in Christ Jesus. And that is what kept me. And that is what took me through this difficult time of my life. And I was able to start learning, start growing, start making changes in me so that I can help my daughter. And finally, I can start meeting her where she was and just working with her so that we could get back to the place that we needed to be. As I accessed the resources and I started to use them, one of the things that I came to understand about myself is the parenting style that I had was not an effective parenting style. I was raised by authoritarian parents. And as a result, I was raising my children with the same parenting style. And one of the things I started to understand is that this parenting style does not work for everyone, and it doesn't work all the time. And my daughter, who is a child, a girl with a gentle and a quiet personality, my parenting style, being authoritarian, just did not match her personality. She needed warmth. She needed firm boundaries. She didn't need a controlling parent. And that's what I was. Controlling, overbearing. The strategies that I used, it was ineffective. And what I came to realize is that it might have worked for my boys, and I think it worked, but at the end of the day, there were times when it really didn't work. But for her, it was not working. So I had to make a conscious decision to start making some changes. I had to get my daughter back. I had to get our life back on track. And if that meant I needed to change me, I needed to change some of my mindsets, guess what? I made the decision to make those changes. Now, I want to tell you that making those changes was not easy, and it didn't happen overnight. Now we are some 5 years later, and I am still working so hard every day because I want my daughter to be restored. She's working hard also because it's a lot of emotions and it's a lot of issues that need to be worked through and worked out. But together we are making the changes. We are implementing the new parenting style. And it's not one parenting style. What I want to say to you parents out there are no perfect parents. And there are no one perfect parenting style. You will have to learn who your kids are. You will have to take all the information that you get and take the nuggets from each one, put them together and formulate your own parenting style. What works for your child? What works for you? And if you were to do that, you will be a more effective parent. As I went through the process, and it was a healing process, and it is still a healing process. I have to learn how to forgive me. And as much as I've gone through the healing process, there's still days when I feel guilt, when I feel ashamed. And what I've come to realize is that these feelings will never leave entirely. Every once in a while, I reflect and I think about it and I feel those feelings. And that's okay. I'm not dwelling on those feelings, but it's still there. And I still feel it every once in a while. And I know it's there for a purpose. Because when we get into situations and we get out of these situations, there are times when we forget and we go back in our old ways. Yes, I had a parenting style that I've been using all my life with my kids. And I'm adopting some new ways of parenting. But if I'm not careful and if I am not being diligent about my own self and my own mind, it will be very easy to go back to yelling, to controlling, to demanding. So I have to keep myself alert. I have to pay attention to what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. So when these emotions comes up, it is a good thing because it keeps me in check. Now, what did I learn from this whole process? The one big takeaway that I got from this process, and I'm still going through the process, but as I am where I am in this journey, one of the things that I have learned and I have internalized and I have accepted is that I cannot give what I do not have. If you don't take anything from this video, remember, you cannot give what you do not have. Yes, I dropped the ball. I can cry about how I feel. But at the end of the day, the truth is, when my daughter needed me, I wasn't there because I didn't know any better. And maybe you might think that's an excuse. That's okay. But I did not know better. I did not have the resources. I did not have the skill set. I just did not have what she needed. And if I didn't have it, there is no way I could give something that I do not have. If any of this is resonating with you, how about you drop a comment and let me know. Let me know if you can relate to my experience. Share your story, share your experience when you might have dropped the ball and how you felt. Drop a comment. That will be really helpful. Thank you for watching this video. I hope my story has been a help to you. If you feel like you need extra help, you need support along your parenting journey, we're here to help you. Contact us at admin@parentingbeyondbehaviors.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and also to keep your ears open for our next video where we are going to be talking about the hidden dangers of an overwhelmed mom. See you next time.